I will start this episode the same way I started the last episode. Catches win matches. Plain and simple. Catches win matches. Why am I saying that? West Indies dropped close to 11 catches against Bangladesh over these past two test matches. At some point in time, that will catch up with you. In the first innings of the second test match, I think the catches dropped probably cost us close to 100 runs. We ended up giving away an 18-run lead. The second innings, vital catches were dropped also. Catches win matches. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Henry. And as usual, we are talking everything West Indies cricket. Three things I wanted to talk about today. The series between West Indies and Bangladesh, the Joshua Da Silva dilemma, and ICC head Greg Barclay stepped down and he left with some parting shots for world cricket and also West Indies cricket. So let's get into it. Listen, we all know it. Batsmen win games, bowlers win series. But when you have fielders that are not supporting their bowlers, who are running in, especially when you have four fast bowlers, let's say five. Let's add Justin Greaves to the list. And they are running in and giving their all, delivery after delivery, in excess of 130, sometimes 35, 140 clicks an hour. That takes a lot. And over this series, we had some real sitters that were dropped. You cannot expect to win matches, much less series, with that lack of discipline. It's just not going to happen. That is what cost West Indies that match and ultimately cost us winning the series. Bangladesh had no business winning that second test match. Absolutely not. But you know what they did differently than us? They came prepared for a fight. They came prepared to scrap. And that is what they did. They scrapped their way to 164 in the first innings. And then in the second innings, they scrapped and they scrapped and they scrapped until young Jakir Ali started taking a toll on the West Indian bowlers, because they were prepared for a scrap. And they kind of knew the West Indies weren't prepared for that type of scrap. West Indies expected Bangladesh to come and roll over just like they did in the first test match at Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. And when the Bangladeshis weren't prepared to do that, we folded. Our bats, it looked like chasing 287, we lacked a plan. None of the batsmen had any idea, it seemed, like how they were going to approach their innings, how they were going to bat time, because that's all they had to do, bat time. In excess of almost a day and a half, you had to make 287 runs, and you couldn't figure that out. And that's why I will continue to say, from 1 to 7, our batsmen are not international caliber batsmen. They're not. If you want to doubt me, the black and white speaks for itself. Go look at the stats. Go look at their first class stats. Go look at their test match stats. You cannot, most of our players in that top order only make a half century every 5 or 6 games or 7. That is not going to cut it in international cricket. The level of consistency that is required is way higher than that. And our batsmen don't have that type of ability, that type of capacity, at least not yet. And they are not ready for international cricket. That brings me to the Joshua Da Silva dilemma. 4 years of playing test cricket, 5 half centuries, 1 century. He's passed 56 times. For a batsman of his talent level, that is unsatisfactory. And I'm saying, when you add that with his inability to concentrate and be disciplined behind the stump and constantly dropping important catches, that's ultimately costing us matches, I think it is time for Joshua Da Silva to be dropped. Here is why. It's not that Tevin Imlach is necessarily better than him. Here's why I would drop him. He has gotten too comfortable. He doesn't think Imlach is a threat to him. He doesn't think Django is a threat to him because outside of those two, there's no one else that can take his spot. And for a long time, it didn't seem like there was anyone else competing for his spot. So what he did was he got comfortable. That is what has happened. Joshua Da Silva has gotten too comfortable, and he doesn't think he will be dropped. His actions speak for themselves. I think when they go to Pakistan, he should be made to sit and watch those 2 test matches. You have to understand that when you put on this jersey, you have to play every game like it's your last. And the level of concentration, the level of discipline that is required, it must show. No one says you're not going to drop the odd catch. No one is perfect. But the amount of catches that Da Silva drops, it's shocking. The amount of times that he's come to the wicket to bat and gotten out in the same manner over and over and over again, it is shocking. When is he going to fix his deficiencies? When is he going to fix his deficiencies? I say let him sit, let him watch. If he ultimately loses his spot, then so be it. Let the chips fall where they may. On to ICC head Greg Barclay, who recently left his post as the ICC head. He left with some parting shots, some about the current state of world cricket, the chaotic nature of it. But the one that stands out for us is his comments about West Indies. And I'll read what he said. You look at West Indies, I love what they have done for the game. But is the West Indies in its current form sustainable? Is it time for them to break up into each of their islands? I find that to be quite disrespectful. Now, the ICC has a lot to do with what has happened to the West Indies. West Indies cricket has a lot to do with what has happened to West Indies. All the stakeholders in the West Indies have a lot to do. And it's time, I'm going to look at us personally. Because Greg Barclay and a whole bunch of them had the chance to fix cricket, and they didn't. They let India, the BCCI, pretty much take over cricket, and the ICC became just the marketing arm of world cricket. I don't care what nobody says. That's what they are. Prove me different. BCCI runs world cricket. And now that Jay Shah is the head, they've pretty much taken over. With that being said, there's a Webby report, and there's the contents in there that West Indies need to put in play. And the stakeholders have got to come together and understand this is not about them. It's not about you personally. It's about West Indies. It's about the product that's on the field. Because what's going on right now is the off-field product is affecting the on-field product. And we cannot continue to have that. So the stakeholders that's going to be at that meeting, that's going to be voting on adopting what's in that Webby report, have got to get their heads out their asses and make things happen. I am your host, Kevin Henry, for the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and most importantly, let's join each other down in the comments. I'll see you next time.